Hello, and welcome back to the Chamber Vibes podcast. I'm your host, Foster Garrett, Director of Marketing and Events for the Bedford Area Chamber of Commerce. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, welcome. Let me just give you a rundown of what's going on. So every week I interview a different chamber member to find out what they do and why they do it, recorded right here in beautiful Bedford, Virginia, broadcasting on Grove Street FM, and brought to you by Media Squatch. Before we get to the actual podcast, though, I do want to tell you about one of our upcoming events, because this is our biggest event of the year, our biggest fundraiser, our biggest business gathering. It's everything. It's a tongue twister, but it's our 85th annual gala, and it's set for September 12th, only about less than 3 weeks away, and we'll be there at Cedar Oaks Farm from 5 to 8:30 p.m. We have been working so hard on this event. Like I said, it's our biggest event, but that always entails fine dining and music and just great things to do with great people, but also a wonderful award ceremony for outstanding businesses, nonprofits, and individuals in the Bedford area. This is an event where we want to recognize everybody for their hard work, their innovation, and what they do for our community. So we are going to be revealing 7 winners. We have over 20 nominees at this event, and it's also an event where we can really talk about our chamber and the last 85 years of working towards a better Bedford through serving organizations and businesses in our area. There are so many things that people probably don't know about our chamber. I certainly didn't know until I started working on all the history behind what we do. But it's very interesting, and there are a lot of things here, like the Smith Mountain Lake State Park and the Peaks of Otter Lodge, that are part of our chamber's history. We help bring those things here. So very, very interesting. But I want to invite all of you to come to the gala, not only because it's a fundraiser, but also because it's a great way to just meet a lot of people and feel community, even just in a professional sense. But our remaining tickets, we only have a couple left, are discounted, and we're selling them through this Friday. So if you're interested in coming, go on bedfordareachamber.com. That's also where our full calendar of events is. And at the very end of this podcast, I will drop our phone number. So make sure to listen all the way through so you can call us, find out more, and get connected. But without further ado, please allow me to introduce today's guest, Carla Powell with Anxious for Nothing.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hello. Thank you for joining me. Well, Carla, it's so good to see you again. I know we've already chatted a little bit before we even started. I try to limit it because the chatting is really for the mics.
Yes.
But I was talking, I'm just going to give people context. I am friends with your daughter.
Yes.
And it's really funny. The first time you and I met was at her wedding.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Isn't that kind of crazy?
Yes, that's true.
We missed a couple steps.
A couple, I guess that was the year before last year?
Last year.
It was last year, yeah.
That's crazy.
It was last year. It seems like so long ago.
It really does.
Yeah.
It feels like she's been Haley Hogan for a long time.
It does feel that way.
Like a long time.
Agreed.
Well, good stuff. Well, I'll circle back to something that I want to tell you about her wedding. But before we kind of get into all of that,
yes,
can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and a little bit about Anxious for Nothing?
Yeah. So I was born and raised here in Bedford. Actually, I grew up in Raintree, apartment complex right on Blue Ridge Avenue, right near where our ministry actually is now. So that's just God working. Lived here my whole life. Was a teenager here. So if you were a teenager here, you know that it always felt like there wasn't much to do around. And so unfortunately, because I couldn't find much to do around, I found my own things to do. So I kind of got distracted. I got involved in a whole bunch of different things, just really tried to make my own way in the world. After that, I was luckily able to get a little bit back on track, start school, start a career, start a business in Bedford. Spent most of my life trying to get away from Bedford, but just really felt like I couldn't. And this was with reason, like God has kept me here for a reason. So grew up in Bedford, didn't have much, low income family, really a family that had to pay attention to what we were eating, what we were spending, what we had. Always kind of felt like less than most of the people here, but always had a sense of like there was more and there was a bigger purpose, and just really wanted to love on the people here in this community. So throughout that, I got married, had 2 kids, Haley, that you know, and my son. Also, like I said, started a business, have now went back to school. I'm a counselor. I work in Lynchburg, and worked kind of a little bit in nonprofits, mostly in addiction and recovery for people struggling with addiction is where I first started out at. Worked at a local nonprofit in Lynchburg and primarily with the women and family, women that struggled with addiction and family members that had family members that were addicts. So I was able just to love on them, encourage them, show them how to navigate kind of a dark time and a frustrating time. So I did that for a few years before God led me to Anxious for Nothing.
Okay, I've been bombarded with information.
Yes, that's a lot of information.
But it's really interesting where you've come from and now what you do, because it all ties in together.
Right.
So tell me about Anxious for Nothing.
Yeah. So in 2020, as you know, the world kind of went a little crazy and everything shut down. So during that time, where I was working at also shut down. So I got to go home to work, which was kind of cool. But so during that time, not really sure what to do with myself, with our family, just kind of struggling because we've always been people that was always doing something very active, whether in the community, at church or work, or whatever. So now we were just kind of stopped, and we just felt like it was a time just to go back to the Lord and just pray. And so that's what we did. And we would open up a house that we had and bring people in and just pray for the world and pray for things that were happening and pray against fear, because pretty much everybody was really scared during that time, including us. And during that time, God sent me a dream, and that's often how God speaks to me. I believe, just like the Bible says, that we can't rely on our own understanding, that God will direct us. He will tell us to go left or right or to stop or to stay if we're willing to listen. And God sent me a very clear dream, basically to go to a community, actually in Roanoke is where we started, to go there and to bring sandwiches. And that's it. There wasn't much detail other than that. And so that's what we did. We packed about 40 lunches, just bagged peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, went to a community that God had showed us, led us to, which was hotels in Roanoke that was full of people struggling with addiction, the homeless community. A lot of families had been placed in the hotels because the government was paying for it because of COVID to get them off the streets, to give them a place to stay. So the hotels were packed. And when we got there, we just pulled up in our truck and popped down the tailgate and just yelled out and said, "You guys want some lunch?" And people just started coming. And as they came, we gave them a bag lunch. We prayed for them, and we ran out in like 5 minutes.
Wow.
We were overwhelmed with what was happening there, and we knew we had to return back. And so that's kind of how Anxious for Nothing started. It's kind of started not even in Bedford at all. And people would ask me, like, why are you going here? Why aren't you going there? And I think because we had to be prepared. We had to grow. We had to learn. And we also had to be obedient. We just had to go where God called us. We wanted to do things in Bedford, but that wasn't what God wanted us to do and start out with. But throughout the months of that, God sent me another dream, very similar, but this time it was to go to the skate parks and to do what we did in Roanoke. So I had a dream that we were at the skate parks. And so I'm like, woke up and I'm like, okay, my husband, Harley, who's always down for most of what my dreams reveal. I was like, we're going to go to the skate park this Sunday, and we're going to do exactly what we do in Roanoke, except we're going to teach skateboarding to kids because there wasn't anything going on. The parks were closed, sports was closed down, kids were just kind of doing their own thing. And so we showed up to the skate parks and did the same thing. We taught them how to skate, gave them something to eat, and taught them about Jesus, and we just started there. And from there, God just kept showing us step by step by step. One night he woke me up, told me to draw this amazing picture, and I'm a terrible artist. I have no creativity but what the Lord gives me. But I got up and I think I found a piece of paper that was like my son's report card or something. And I just drew on the back of it, and it was a picture of all these ramps and like the sizes of them and like where they would be. And God says, I'm going to do this for this community. And I was like, okay, Lord. So I went back to the skate park. I showed all the kids this picture, and I'm like, God is going to do this for you guys. And they were like, never going to happen. We don't believe it. Not going to happen. I'm like, no, God said it, and we're going to believe for it. And not only that, I want you guys to write down what you believe God's going to put in that place. So kids wrote down on a piece of paper, like couches or this or that. And then within 3 months, God did it. Liberty University closed down their skate park. We were able to purchase all their ramps and everything. Blue Ridge Community Church allowed us to use their space. So we were able to move all the ramps into their space. Now we actually do have lots of couches, a couple years later removed, but God did it. And so here's Anxious for Nothing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about much besides like the conception. I knew that it had come to you in a dream. I didn't know it was multiple step-by-step dreams.
Yes.
And it's really interesting, like the feeding ministry with the skateboarding ministry.
Right.
With the youth ministry. It all comes together now as Anxious for Nothing.
Right. And at first I couldn't really see it, right? And so you're kind of like, well, this doesn't make sense, because when you start a nonprofit, a lot of people want to have a huge plan. What's it going to look like? What your board's going to look like? Your strategic plan for the next 10 years. And that wasn't us. We were just going on what God had showed us so far. And we were hoping people would join us on that mission. And thankfully, because we were obedient, we had God's favor and doors just started opening. And, now we're no longer in Roanoke. Actually, most of the hotels we went to have been tore down or shut down. Yeah. And so when God told us, hey, it's time to stop this, within 6 months to a year, all of those hotels shut down. Yeah. So it's like God knew the timing of it.
That's like giving me like how everything is just like fitting into place. It's giving me goosebumps.
Yeah. It's pretty wild, because sometimes when you leave a certain thing, you think, oh my goodness, like how can I leave this? What is this going to look like? But really it's because like that season's over. And you have to trust that. You have to trust that whatever was meant to grow and whatever you were meant to be taught in that season has now ended. And now it's time to move into your next season. And that's what has happened here in Bedford. And God has just done amazing things by us staying true to this is where we're called and this is what God wants to do here at this time.
I think most of the best nonprofits start with mission.
Yes.
Above all else.
Yes.
And everything, and it's the same, honestly, it's the same with most things.
Right.
Small businesses, they start with an idea.
Right.
And learning to run the business, learning to create the nonprofit, it comes later. It comes as you do what you've been called to do.
Yes.
So you talked a little bit about people and their frustration with, let's do the plan, let's put together the board.
Yeah.
Well, you have a board now.
We do. Of course.
Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Yeah. So in order to be a nonprofit, you have to have a board.
Yeah.
So I will say we never started this thinking we were going to be a nonprofit. We just were doing what the Lord said. But God, also sent us the name, Anxious for Nothing, the dream. And he kept saying, like, this is what it is. It's Anxious for Nothing. It's to be called this. This is where my anointing is. Don't change it. Don't compromise on it. And so when that happened, we knew that we needed to start a board. We knew we needed to be tax exempt. We knew we needed to fill out that huge 501c form, and we didn't want to take shortcuts and do the smaller one. We did the large one, which I had no experience doing, but was able to get it done because we knew that what God wanted to do was bigger than what we could see at that moment. Like, we started at the skate park. We started in hotels, but now we're in a whole building. And we knew that God wanted to like plant us here to do more for Bedford than we can even see right now. Like, it's still growing. It's still changing. It's still being watered. So like, we just know we had to have a foundation, right? That at some point it had to be not just me and my husband, because hopefully after we're gone, or after, if God ever moves us, that Anxious for Nothing continues. Like, that is the prayer, that Anxious for Nothing stays outside of us. Right.
That's amazing. Yeah. Legacy is a big thing. Yeah. And stability too.
Right.
And when you get so many people, when people see that you're doing something amazing, people flock to you, they come to you, and you guys have a lot of people involved with you, both as volunteers, board members, donors, sponsors, and the people that you serve.
Right. And I think people realize that it's not us, that it's God, that it's like even the story of it. And even like for the first couple of years, we were in that building for free. We didn't pay anything. Now we do have to pay, but that's okay, right? Because now we have more, right? So we should give back, right? So we should steward what we've been given. So these are all good things, right? These are all development things. But I think people see that this isn't like me and my husband and even most of my team, we're not qualified for any of this, right? I mean, we've learning, we're getting better, but it's not because of us. It's just our yes and our willingness to be like, we need to grow in this area. We need to listen in this area. We need to change this. Like, that is why it continues to be what it is.
You are so humble. You're like ridiculously so, because it is God, of course. but it's also your willingness to listen and to act
Right.
and make people feel loved regardless of whatever you do.
Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit about Anxious for Nothing's programming
Yeah.
and how many students, I guess youth, that you serve right now?
Yeah. So Anxious for Nothing, our mission is for people not to feel hopeless, right? And we want to fill gaps in communities with the love of Jesus, with a passion for him, because really that's what drives us, right? I came from brokenness. I came from bitterness. I came from divorce, abuse, addiction, all sorts of things in our family, right? And I remember feeling so alone. And I remember feeling like I couldn't even talk to anybody about this because I was carrying shame. I was carrying guilt. And I felt like people wouldn't understand or would judge me or reject me. Right. And so it was like, I just got to make my own way. Like, in order for people not to realize what I've come from and how broken I am, I'm just going to do everything really great. And I'm just going to try to be really perfect.
And 2020 really popped that bubble.
It did. It's like not happening.
You have to sit with yourself.
You do, right?
Yeah.
And then also that isn't sustaining, right? Eventually, you're going to get to the point where someone isn't going to approve of you, where you're not going to be able to meet the mark, right? Where you feel empty, where just like pushing yourself isn't enough, right? And so that's what happened to me and my family. And so I just really wanted other people to encounter Jesus, the real Jesus, right? Not what we have accomplished, not what people say, like a personal encounter with God, to understand who they were and why they were created and what God was going to do through them, right? And so that's kind of why Anxious for Nothing is what it is. We rely so much on the Holy Spirit. So yeah, we have skateboarding, and we do have kids, lots of middle school and high school kids. So usually it depends. Like, so some nights there may be 60 kids there. Some nights there may be 120 kids there. But every Friday we do prayer and pizza, which is a time for kids to come in. They get fed because a lot of them are hungry, right? So they get fed in the building. We have the ramps and the skateboarding. We have gaga pits and pool tables and all these other stuff.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It is. And so we have a sanctuary area, a stage, all this stuff. And so the kids can come in, and what was one thing crazy about the kids coming in, they can't bring their cell phones in.
Oh, really?
So they actually have to check their cell phones at the door and not bring them in.
Honestly, that's a great idea.
And they do it because they just feel so loved there, and they know that they're accepted there. They know they're seen there, right? And so like they come in and they're able to like hang out with their friends, eat, and then we have a message time, and we're speaking real truth to them, right? We're not sugarcoating it. We are giving them the words of life, right? And we are also giving them the words of consequences. Both of that, right? It's a path that they can choose, right? We're not forcing anything, but we're letting them know these are the paths. The world's giving you a lot of different options. Let me tell you this option. Let me tell you what Jesus is. Let me tell you the way and the truth, right? And so after we do a message, there's a prayer time, and then they split up into groups based on gender and grade. And so they're able to kind of dive a little bit more and ask more questions, right? Because you don't want necessarily a 10th grader is not going to be asking the same questions as a 7th grader.
Yeah,
they're going to have different life experiences, and they're going to have different questions. So we wanted to make sure that there's a space where every person that walks in that building, if there's 130 kids, we want to make sure that every one of them got a chance to say something, be seen, made eye contact with an adult there, and they're not just in and out. So the groups allow that because we're splitting up. It's like 15 people to a group to 2 leaders. So it allows them to be seen, known, and loved. And so that's one thing that we do. We also do youth camp. We do that once a year. That's 3 nights, overnight, no charge for any of the kids that come.
Wow.
That's 12 to 17. And we went to the Peaks Retreat, which is an amazing place. So we do that. We also do the back to school event, right? And this year, I think we handed out 157 book bags.
Oh, that's amazing.
And we had 350 maybe people come up, and they all get fed for free. There was crafts, there's activities, all a free event that they get to do. We do a mom's brunch, which we do that in the spring and in the fall. And this is just for moms to come, to love on them, to encourage them, to pray for them. We give them a gift and just remind them who they are. And we're actually getting ready to have our first women's retreat in September. So we do feel like God is growing us in different areas, particularly with moms and with women, as well as the youth. So we see God doing a couple different things as we continue to go forth. And we also have like small groups throughout the week. So for the kids that can't make it on Friday nights because of different things, football tends to be a thing during this time of year. So then maybe they can attend a small group on Mondays or Thursdays. So it's just a lot of different things available for them.
You guys have a lot going on.
Yeah, good stuff.
And you've got full-time job plus
I do.
school.
Yes.
Plus your family.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
gosh.
Yeah. I'm a counselor, so I have a full-time job, but I consider that ministry as well. So it's
Yeah.
like everything that I get to do, and that's how I look at it. I get to do it. Like it's
Yeah.
not, I don't have to. I get to do these things is honestly an honor. Like I don't deserve to do these things. I'm excited to be invited into people's life.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like I'm always very struck by people who have found their calling
Yeah.
and continue to grow and build on that. And I mean, it can be a variety of things, but for you, I can just tell, like, every time I've spoken to you, I can just feel joy.
Yeah. Thanks.
I mean, you don't have to thank me. It's just true.
That's
just true.
I'm glad. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, you guys have a lot of things going on with your ministries and your programming. Do you have any upcoming projects, goals? I know you do special events.
Yes, tons of special events. So we actually and I'll get back to a couple other things going on, but on September 22nd, we actually have open skate day where we're teaching kids how to skate again, because that's all something that we haven't done as much because of everything else. And we're a big part of teaching kids how to skate is like it really increases their self-esteem and they love it, right? And we get to share the gospel with them. So we will be doing that September 22nd, and that's for younger kids too, which is great because younger kids can't come on Friday nights. So you have to be 10 and older to come on Friday nights, just because it's so much happening in the space. We just want to make sure they're protected. So this will allow the younger kids to get a chance to come in as well, which is really cool. So we do have a few goals that we are hoping to obtain. We really, really would love to have like a full kitchen cafeteria. We would love to be able to cook and serve
that
the
would
youth
make
in
sense.
the community. So that is something that is on our next couple year plan and hope is that we will get the budget or the fundraising to be able to support that. Because like I said, a lot of the kids that come on Friday night, they are hungry. And that is something that they ask when they come in the door, like, hey, did I miss the pizza? Did I miss this? And so that's really important to us. Also, one kind of really cool thing that God did recently. So we have snacks set up for the kids because when we first started this, they would go down to like the convenience store and get snacks, and they wanted to be in and out. And we were just like, yeah, you can't be in and out. Once you come in, you're in for the night. And then, when it's time to go home. So we started our own kind of snack bar, not to make money, really any of the things that we buy. It's actually cheaper, but it was just so the kids could be safe. Well, God was just kind of really putting it on our hearts that like what we were offering the kids was junk. It was junk and it wasn't good for them. And that we should like steward that and be better at that. So now like all of our snacks have completely changed. So they're all like healthy snacks for kids that struggle with like ADHD, that don't need like the red dyes or the sugar and that kind of stuff. And so they cost us 3 times more.
Oh, I'm sure.
But we still sell them at the same price because we really knew that this was important. And I can tell you it has dramatically changed with how the kids can pay attention, with how the kids respond to each other, how they interact with each other. They're less aggressive. Like it's completely different. And so that's a big part of it too. Like we want to be able to like offer food and healthy options that people wouldn't normally have the options to get those things. So a cafeteria would allow us to do a lot more of that. So that is one of our goals. We're hoping that something like that will happen in the next couple years. We're getting ready to put a sign up.
Woo!
That's awesome. Which is pretty exciting. So that should be installed in November. We're really excited about that because people basically have been dropping their kids off to a no-name building for the past 3 years. So we appreciate their trust. But yeah, so we're like, we need a sign. Funny. It's time to put a sign up. And it kind of just lets us also let the community know that we're staying, we're real. Yeah. And I just also want to say that too, like this is God. This isn't us, because someone that's grew up in Bedford knows how many times things have tried to get started.
Absolutely.
Particularly for young people. And usually about the year mark, it's usually when it kind of winds down and it just kind of falls apart, or you don't hear much about it anymore. I'm thankful to say that we are 3 years in that building, and it is nothing but God. It isn't because of us. It is our yes, but it is really because God has chosen this town and this generation for a reason, and he is pursuing them. And so I'm excited to have a sign. So that is going to be up and coming. And then we have, of course, our color run
Mhm.
that we are hosting October 5th. And this is our biggest fundraiser of the year, just like you
Nice,
guys.
nice.
So our color run is at Liberty Lake Park. It's a 2-mile fun run. All of our AFN kids can sign up for free. They will not get
Oh,
charged to
nice.
sign up. And
That's
yep,
awesome.
the train is coming.
I know the train's here.
That's okay. They will not get charged. So we want the kids to be able to come out and have fun. And hopefully the fact that they can do it for free, their parents will sign up and help support AFN. And that's the hope. But this fundraiser, which we do need sponsors for, like businesses, which we would really appreciate, sends all the kids to camp for free. So
that's awesome.
without these funds, it would be very hard for us to do this. So this is what pays for the kids to go to camp for free every year. And it's about $22,000. And we at camp, so we do all the cooking and everything. So it covers all of that. So that will be October 5th at Liberty Lake Park. You can register on our website, or runsignup.com, to register for that too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I know so many people that are involved with Anxious for Nothing in different capacities, but my partner's sisters,
Yes,
they love to go,
they do.
and it's so cool, like, because the girls are very shy,
Yes.
but very, very shy, but they love to go to any of your events. The summer camp is one of their favorite things to do.
Yes.
And I just know that everybody that goes, like, to Anxious for Nothing programming, they just get so involved with it regardless of whatever their, like, stage of belief is.
Right. Well, it's like you have to be in the room. That's the best way that I can describe it. A lot of people will think like, oh, it's just a skateboard ministry. Oh, it's just this. Well, it's really not. It's, I mean, those things are there. Yes. Right. And there's a lot of loud kids, and it sometimes walks in and it seems chaotic, and you're like, what is even happening here?
That's just kids.
Yeah. It's just the reality. And God knows who he created and he knows what stage of life they're in. Right. And so, but when God's presence is there, and it is, when you're in the room and the kids are hitting their knees and crying out to God and praying for their families and like believing for miracles, right? It's like you just have to be in there. It's hard to explain what's taking place there unless you are there. And once people come in and they see, usually it like just changes every thought and every judgment or what they thought Anxious for Nothing is, because a lot of people think, oh, it's just this. It's not. It's so much more than that. It's a lifeline for a lot of the kids here in this community.
Absolutely. I always wanted something more to do, or something to get involved with, or just spend my time with that wasn't like at my parents' house.
Yes.
Because I think, like, as teenagers especially, you crave that independence. You want to know who you are.
Right.
But you don't really know until you kind of break free of that yoke of what is.
Yeah.
And Bedford, I really think the only place that I ever, like, felt like I was kind of growing and could be with my friends, it could be, like, in public on my own, was at Happy Coffee.
Yes,
And
I remember Happy Coffee.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I would always go in there, and, like, we would spend, like, hours.
Yeah, playing games. They always had the board games and
playing
stuff.
games.
Yeah.
Coffee was terrible. The food was great. But I know it's so funny, Happy Coffee, but I miss it so much. When it closed down, we had nowhere to go anymore.
Yeah.
Because there was nowhere in town where we felt welcome
Right.
to stay like that.
Right, where you could just be yourself.
Yeah, that we weren't outside, you know, doing things in the wilderness, which is still great, but, like, you only get that about half a year.
Well, and it gets cold.
And it gets cold. So
and you're hungry, right? And so and you want to feel like, I would say what everyone wants is to feel like they belong somewhere, right? And that is ultimately what we were created to. We were created to be in relationship with people, right? And I think that when I think about Anxious for Nothing, I think about, you know, just even the Bible story about this woman at the well, and it's like Jesus encounters her, and this was a person that was rejected by society, that people judge, this person that has been searching her whole life and trying a whole bunch of different things to be able to find out who she was. And then she has one conversation with Jesus, and she runs and tells people, and she goes, he told me everything about me. It's like he finally knew me. Like this person seen me and knew exactly who I was and where I belonged. And when I've been searching all these other places, I never found it until that moment. And that is what, like, our prayer is for everyone that walks into AFN, is that they finally feel and seen that, like, everything, good or bad, like the things that they want to shine to the rooftops and the things they want to hide, that, like, Jesus sees it all and still loves them, like sees it all and is still, like, willing to meet them when everyone else is, like, turning their back to him. Like, that's who he is. And that's what Anxious for Nothing is about.
That's beautiful. And that's really what the world needs.
Yes.
It's what everybody needs, especially, like, 2020. Sitting with yourself, like I said.
Yes.
It allows you to cast off everything else. And if what you're left with is not what you want, figure it out.
Right. Yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah. Right.
And I'll go back to what I was going to say about your daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
The very first time I saw you, you were giving a speech to Haley.
Okay.
And it was very impassioned. I was very struck by it because I didn't know you, and I didn't really know much about Anxious for Nothing besides that it was a nonprofit and a community center.
Right.
And you kept reiterating the fact that Haley doesn't know how much God loves her.
Yeah. Right.
And it was just beautiful.
It's true.
It is true.
Yeah.
And I think that's true for a lot of people.
Right.
And it's true with everything you do.
Yes.
And I just knew right then that you were a significant person.
Thank you.
Of
Thank
course.
you. I'm glad that you came.
Yeah.
To meet you. I'm glad that you invited me on this because it's true. Like, one thing that's been really cool about this journey is connecting with people that Haley and my son, Blaze, has already known. Right. And it was like, there was a time when I was a mother that was only concerned with my kids. You know, it's like, my kids have to be in sports. My kids have to be doing this. My kids need to not do this. My kids. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because it's hard to be a mom, right? And we think we have limited capacity. It's true, we do. But the Lord has lots of capacity. And so once I took my eyes off of myself and what I thought I needed and my kids needed and all these things and realized that there's a whole community out here that just needs to know they're loved and seen, it changed everything for my family. It changed everything for Haley and my son and my husband. Like, once we stopped just building our own life and our own kingdom, like, then we realize really what this life is about, right? And I think that's the greatest gift of this. Like, this ministry has blessed me more than we've blessed this community, for sure. This ministry has definitely blessed me more.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, if people want to get involved with Anxious for Nothing, whether it be their kids or to donate, what's the best way to do so?
So every Friday night, 10 to 17 is prayer and pizza. Parents can go online to our website, which is www.anxiousfornothingva.com. And there's a waiver they can fill out.
Perfect.
Just to make sure they're safe on the skateboards and stuff. So there is a waiver they can fill out. Then they can just basically bring them and drop them off on Friday nights. We open the doors at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And pick up is at 8:15. Again, we take their cell phones. So my number and everything is online if they need to reach us anytime during that time. Also, if someone's interested in volunteering, they can go onto our website as well. And it kind of shows our volunteer needs, and they would do like a Google document.
Perfect.
And we would get them in touch with our volunteer coordinator. We definitely are always looking for volunteers, whether it's on Friday nights or events and like color runs or helping, just things like that. That would be fantastic. To donate, our website has a link to PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. You can also mail us a check. None of us are paid. So all the money goes back into Anxious for Nothing for operating costs. So every donation goes back. So I encourage people, whether it's $5, $10, you can set up an automatic draft. That really helps us a lot because again, everything we do, we do it for free right now. Like, that's what the Lord has said. We do not ever want to charge. We want it to be freely given. And so that happens by the donors. That happens by the community. It's the only way that it happens, right? So that's how you can help support us, and praying. Like, that's a huge part too, just praying for us because it can be tough. So just having prayers to watch and protect us.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, I think I just want to end with what you've already said. Like, if anyone is listening and they're feeling like they're not loved and they're not enough and they're not seen and they're struggling with life, I just want to remind them that they are, and that they're not here by accident, that they were created with purpose, and there is a purpose for them. And I just pray peace over them. And I just wanted to end on that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. Always good to see you.
Yes, agreed.
Well, if people want to learn more about us at the Chamber, I promised our phone number. It is 540-586-9401. You can also go to our website for information about our mission and the perks of becoming a member. But also on our website is a full directory of our membership, which is helpful for finding all sorts of great things in the region, including Anxious for Nothing. But that's all for today. Thanks so much for listening, and keep an ear out for next Chamber Vibes podcast.